slogan, White Lives Matter, turns violent right here in an Anaheim neighborhood.
Plus, one of the biggest days for American politics went down this week. Find out which politicians are still battling it out.
And no one knows more about Orange County than our studio guest. The prolific author and historian joins us today.
Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to Chapman News. I'm Cameron Backstrom.
And I'm Simone Buteau. We're going to jump right into a developing story on campus. Reporter Mandy Ortiz is on the scene of a gas leak on the corner of Walnut and Grand. Mandy?
We're standing here on the corner of and Walnut, just here by Prawley Residence Halls. A lot of students woke up to safety about a natural gas leak here on Chapman's campus. I'm standing here with firefighter and paramedic Rob Prendergast. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. Tell us a little bit about the discovery of this gas leak and how you got to where we are right now.
At 9:55 this morning, we got a call to respond to a suspected gas leak. On arrival, we found a 2-inch gas line that had been ruptured by a construction crew and was actively leaking gas. The Orange Fire Department responded, approximately 14 personnel. Currently, we're in the process of getting the gas stopped and getting the line repaired. So right now, we're just kind of in a staging pattern, letting the gas company go ahead and repair the ruptured line.
So what is your advice to students living in these residence halls or going to class? What are kind of the parameters that they should stay away from?
Right now, they should shelter in place and try to stay away from the general area because we do have gas that's leaking from the pipe, and it's best for health-wise for them to shelter in place and stay out of the general vicinity.
And what kind of dangers could students be at if this goes further?
Well, the gas could be an irritant to the respiratory system or their skin, as well as we have the obvious explosion hazard as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for talking with us today. We'll keep you updated on social media and later on in Chapman News. We'll send it back to you.
A KKK rally in Anaheim erupted in violence and broke national headlines last weekend. Michelle Cayley with more on the story.
A war of words instantly turned physical when counter-protesters confronted members of the Ku Klux Klan in Anaheim last Saturday. The Klan arrived at Pearson Park around noon for a planned rally for White Lives Matter, but was greeted by a much larger group in ideological opposition. The violent brawl stretched a city block and resulted in 12 people being arrested and 3 stabbed. The victims are now listed in stable condition. The scene of the crime happens to be the same location selected for the Klan's initiation rally that attracted over 10,000 people back in 1924. Since then, the city of Anaheim's Hispanic and minority communities have grown to over 73% of the population.
Just by looking 20 feet around us, you see people from different colors, different races that live here, and it's just stirring up unnecessary things.
Nevertheless, Anaheim has been littered with KKK propaganda in recent years, and the number of active Klans nationwide increased to 190 in 2015.
I feel that they are still around. They become your doctors, your lawyers, your engineers, your teachers, your principals. That's why a lot of them wear hoods.
After investigating the crime scene, police released the 5 Klansmen who were arrested and published a statement that read, "Regardless of an individual or group's beliefs or ideologies, they are entitled to live without the fear of physical violence and to defend themselves when attacked."
The 7 counter-protesters remain in custody and have been placed on bail ranging from $25,000 to $50,000 each for charges of assault with a deadly weapon and elder abuse. Reporting from Pearson Park in Anaheim, I'm Michelle Cayley-Human, Chapman News.
The police will forward their findings to the district attorney's office. The DA's office will decide if the charges will be filed against the counter-protesters.
Sportscaster Erin Andrews took the stand twice this week in her $75 million lawsuit against the Nashville. In 2008, Michael David Barrett took a new video of Andrews through a peephole in her hotel room at the Nashville Marriott. He later posted it online claiming that in his video testimony,
I was just screaming that I was naked all over the internet, and I know what it was. And my dad was like, he thought he had been in a car accident.
Trying to make some extra cash. On Tuesday, Andrews gave an emotional testimony in court.
He was screaming, and I'm just like, Dad, I'm naked all over the internet.
Andrews is suing Barrett and the investor group that owns the Marriott, claiming invasion of privacy and negligence.
And now for an update on the race for the White House. Super Tuesday was this week, and voters in 11 states took to the polls, mostly in the South. For the Republicans, Donald Trump came out on top, carrying 7 states. Ted Cruz took 3, and Marco Rubio won his first contest in Minnesota. For the Democrats, Hillary Clinton strengthened her momentum and came out far ahead of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. The primaries on March 15th are delegate-rich. States like Ohio and Florida are winner-takes-all primaries.
This week, Chapman's campus celebrated the grand opening of the new Hilbert Museum of California Art. Reporter Emma Hertz has more on the story.
With the generous donation of Mark and Jeanette Hilbert, Chapman University can now pridefully say that it has its very own campus museum. The Hilbert Museum of California Art displays a collection of works which include oils, watercolors, sketches, and lithographs of urban and industrial scenes, coastal views, farms, ranches, and landscapes of everyday life in California from the 1930s to the 1970s. The Hilbert's newly donated personal art collection of more than 1,000 paintings is valued at more than $7 million and will be the first museum to be totally dedicated to the display of California scenery and art.
We started with just maybe a man in a painting, or today, of course, you can see there are a lot of things going on. And I've always loved stories, and these paintings tell a story.
The donor, Mark Hilbert, has said that the intention behind his and his wife's donation is to cast a spotlight on this style of painting and these amazing artists and make this art known around the world. Now open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 5 p.m. right next to the Partridge Dance Center, you can come and see this amazing collection for yourself. Reporting live for Chapman News, I'm Emma Hertz.
I know, I can't wait for it to open. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I know, Kim. I'm so glad that we have something like this right here on our own campus.
I know, absolutely. And Mandy, we have here in studio. Now, it's been pretty sunny for the past few days, but over the weekend, we got some different weather coming our way.
Yeah, we've been spoiled. February was only hotter. Let me rephrase that. February was hot, but not as hot as last February. That broke records as the hottest February on record. So now we've got a storm brewing over the Pacific Ocean that's set to bring up to an inch of rainfall in the next few days. So definitely that sunny 75 not happening in the next few days. So we'll give you more updates about that after the break.
Awesome.
Coming up, the top 10 dog breeds in America have been released. Find out if your dog made the list.
And coming up on Chapman News, we have reporter Nicole Renard at the Great Wolf Lodge grand opening in Anaheim. Stay right here.
Follow your dreams. Chapman University. Take your life to new heights. Chapman University. Invest your humanity. Lead. Follow your dreams. Chapman University. History, philosophy, peace studies, languages. Study abroad and explore the world. Become a global citizen. The Wilkinson College at Chapman University. Invest your humanity. Lead.
Former Disneyland president and Chapman University trustee Jack Lindquist died of natural causes at his home in Anaheim on Sunday. He was 88. Lindquist is regarded as one of the most creative marketing men of the 20th century, credited with creating many of the programs that made Disney and its parks so successful. In the last 5 years, more than 500 Chapman students were privileged to hear Jack lecture in Professor Brian Alter's Disney and Darwin class. Jack visited class 2 weeks ago, his last public appearance. You can visit Jack and Belle Lindquist's Dream Room in Chapman's Leatherby Libraries to see some of Jack Lindquist's collection of Disney memorabilia. Today in the studio, we have best-selling author and renowned photographer Chris Epting.
So Chris, thank you for joining us. So you've done a lot of projects. Can you take us through some of your favorite projects you've worked on?
I think some of my favorite book projects, one was called Roadside Baseball. I'm a big baseball fan, so traveling the country in search of baseball history was a lot of fun. I'm working on a book currently with John Oates from Hall & Oates, his life story, which has been a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of Hall & Oates, so that's been interesting. And I think my favorite, though, is a book called James Dean Died Here, which was a travel book which led me to explore all kinds of kind of offbeat American pop culture sites around the United States.
Yeah, just as we were talking earlier, you are an award-winning travel writer. With all the traveling that you've done, what is kind of the most interesting story that you've gotten?
I think the most interesting trip was to Antarctica, which my daughter who's a freshman here at Chapman, by the way, went to Antarctica a couple of years ago. And that was something beyond, I think, our wildest imagination. From a photography standpoint, to shoot, emperor penguins, and also to write about that kind of great natural environment. Is amazing. There's zero population in Antarctica, so when you're there, you're sort of it, and you feel like you kind of occupy your own planet. So that was a very exciting trip.
And also, we were talking to you earlier before the show, and you were telling all of these stories to all of our class. So I was wondering, are your books more story-oriented, or are they more like travel?
I think they're both. They're stories. If you don't want to travel, the books are kind of loaded with local, interesting, and international, national stories. But if you want to travel, I think they serve as a guide as well. I mean, I did a book called Vanishing Orange County. If you never traveled the county, you could still learn about a lot of places that are gone. But if you want to go wander, I think the books serve as good guides to kind of get you there and back.
And so we're obviously film and TV students and journalists at heart. Can you give us some advice for many of us who are trying to get into that field?
I think you've got to be hungry to tell the next big story. No matter what the medium is, people want good stories. There's always going to be a market for good stories. If you're willing to sort of dig in and go places where no one else has gone before, to tell those stories people want to hear, I think you'll find success. Whether it's in journalism, radio, television, film, it's all about delivering compelling stories.
And I know you said that you grew up in a household for marketing, but you said writing is your favorite. Do you have a specific genre that you tend to write to? Is it more history-oriented, or?
I'm a nonfiction narrative writer. I like history, I like memoir, but I'm nonfiction all the way. I don't have the fiction writing gene, but I love writing. There's enough reality out there that wants to be told and needs to be told, so I'm happy in my nonfiction narrative world.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you having us. And thank you again for having us in the studio. Step aside, Disneyland, because there's a new park in town.
Great Wolf Lodge is opening today, just miles from Sleeping Beauty's castle. One of our reporters, Nicole Renard, is on the scene now with more details. Nicole?
Thanks, friends. Great Wolf Lodge has come to the rescue in the middle of this heat wave. Today is the grand opening of one of the largest water parks in the world, and it's right here in Garden Grove. This sun might just be what you, the city, and I both need. This is Southern California's first indoor water park, and you can splash around in all 105,000 square feet of it. The resort is said to bring in $8 million annually in tax revenue to the city. The park uses nearly 570,000 gallons of water, but Great Wolf promises to operate a state-of-the-art recycling system that purifies the water before circulating it back into the park's water areas.
They've really built in a very sophisticated water system that recycles and reuses the vast majority of all the water that they're using. And of course, they're very sensitive to that, given some of the water shortages that we have here in Southern California.
Well, I've got my floaty. I'm ready to go. I'm standing here with Peter Cunningham, the general manager of Great Wolf Lodge. Phil, tell me, your Great Wolf Lodge offers a lot of value to the customers. Can you tell me a little bit about how that works?
Well, for Great Wolf Lodge, our resort is for our guests. It's exclusive as far as the water park to our guests. We have, like you said, 105,000 square feet of indoor water space, but we're unique because we also have attractions. We have 7 dining opportunities, as well as bowling, XD motion theater, to just name a few.
Okay, so it's not just the water, you've got other activities.
We do have a lot of activities, and we have activities for the entire family, not just for the little ones, but for the entire family.
That's amazing. So if you get hungry while you're here playing around, are there any great places to eat?
Oh, absolutely. We have what we call our wood-fired grill, which is wood-inspired a la carte menus for our guests. We also have a buffet for those that like buffet dining. And then we have our very own pizza.
Wow, that's making me hungry. That sounds great. I'm about to dive in, but before I go, Phil, thank you so much for being with us. I'm Nicole Renard. Back to you guys in the studio.
Okay.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, I don't know about you, Cam, but I could really use a trip down a water slide.
I know, it looked like a lot of fun. But I have a Czech Street Bay Retriever, which is a really good dog. But this year, it wasn't in the top 10. But reporter Chris Williams has the scoop on which dogs are in the top 10.
The American Kennel Club released their annual rankings of the most popular dog breeds in America this week, and there were some familiar faces at the top. The top 3 dog breeds in America remain the same they have for the past 3 years, with Golden Retrievers coming in at number 3, German Shepherds locking up the number 2 spot, and Labrador Retrievers defending their title as the top dog breed in America. Labrador Retrievers have held the number 1 spot for the past 25 years. That is the longest such streak since the American Kennel Club started in 1888.
I have a lab, and she's about 4 years old now, and she has been the most loyal, caring, compassionate dog compared to all the other dogs I know in my neighborhood. There's no surprise to me that labs are at the top of the list again this year.
The biggest news of this year's rankings were French Bulldogs. Just 2 years ago, they were number 11. Last year, they jumped to number 9, and now they have climbed to number 6. So who knows if in the next few years they'll be able to dethrone Labrador Retrievers as America's most loved breed.
Now, obviously, this list was made up strictly by opinion, and a lot of great breeds were left off the list, so I decided to catch up with my dog, Pebbles, and see how she felt about it. Pebbles, what are your thoughts on Shih Tzus being left out of the top 10? You heard it here first. From Orange, California, this has been Chris Williams, Chapman News.
Thanks, Chris, for that report. So obviously in its package, it was pretty warm out, but that's not going to be the case for the next few days.
That's right, Cam. We are not expecting our normal sunny and 75 this weekend. We have Mandy Ortiz with what weather you can expect for this weekend and beyond.
Yeah, if you're planning on taking your dog to the dog park, you might want to do it quick. Right now, 70 degrees, partly cloudy, but coming up soon, that rain is coming our way, just like I talked about a little bit earlier. Your Orange County forecast remaining in that 60 degree, even up a little bit into 70 degrees, like I said, here in Orange, topping off Orange County. 66 degrees in Westminster, Newport Beach, and those coastal cities, 64, already starting their cool down. Now backing up into the Southern California forecast, up in Santa Barbara, we do see 64 degrees, Los Angeles at 68. Over here we have our two most contrasting cities, Santa Barbara at 64 and Santa Barbara at 64, Los Angeles 68, kind of how we said before. Moving on into orange for our 5-day forecast, we are seeing rain. 72 degrees will be the high for the next 2 days, but by Saturday night, that rain is going to start to come in. It's going to continue on into Sunday, and even into Monday, we have the potential for some lightning. Those temperatures are going to drop to a high of 63 degrees by Monday. Tuesday, we're going to kick it back up to sunny and 72, but the nighttime temperatures will remain in the mid-40s, so it's going to stay cool in the evening. Now, the first official weekend of spring training kicked off in Arizona. Major League Baseball's West Coast teams reside there, so our Angels and Dodgers are over there. Tempe, where the Angels play, 88 degrees. Camelback Ranch, the Dodgers, 84. Sometimes those temperatures over there can get up to 100 degrees, so it's looking like a nice, cool start to that season. Now, baseball is back here in Orange with Chapman Baseball as well. Hart Park, tomorrow first pitch happens at noon. 68 degrees, partly cloudy, so that cool down is going to start to begin by that time, and then into the evening we can expect some rain. But I know that's not the only Chapman sports function happening this weekend. Justin, what do we have going on in sports?
Thanks, Mandy. First up, we take a look at the Chapman men's basketball team and their run all the way to the Big Dance Plus. Something is brewing here in SoCal, and yes, those are quacks that you're hearing. We have all that and more coming up on the Best Campus Sports Show.
Becoming an astronaut, 1 in 13,200,000. Odds of being struck by lightning, 1 in 576,000. Odds of dating a supermodel, 1 in 88,000. Odds of bowling a perfect game, 1 in 11,500. Odds of being trapped in an elevator, 1 in 24,528. Odds of catching a ball at a major league game, 1 in 563. Odds of an injury from shaving, 1 in 6,585. Odds of tripping while texting, 1 in 10. Odds of getting cancer in your lifetime, 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women.
It's up to us.
To change the odds for our generation.
For the ones we love. For our future.
If you don't like the odds, stand up. Stand up to cancer.
I'm Justin Gillerman, and boy, do we have a great segment for you today. So buckle up and let's get this thing rolling. After their semifinal victory on Friday, the men's basketball team made it to their third consecutive SCIAC final, losing a heartbreaker last year. This young star-studded group tried to avenge their loss, this time against the Redlands Bulldogs. The Panthers got off to a hard start with Luke Hamlin hitting the three right there. He had a big game, along with James Taylor, a nice low post move right there. And of course, the super freshman Cam Haslam did his job. But every punch that Chapman gave, the Redlands Bulldogs had an answer right here. The nice step back deuce by Husling. And Albiekovic had a nice pass right here to Sponheim. This was really what kept the Redlands Bulldogs in the game and kept it going. But at the end of the day, Cam Haslam, the freshman, came up big right here, putting the Panthers up too late. And the last second try for the Redlands Bulldogs off the fingertips of Albiekovic. The Panthers gain the ball, win this game in thrilling fashion, winning their second SCIAC final in 3 years in thrilling fashion. Now, junior transfer Luke Hamlin has been a part of the championship team in each of his 3 years. He told us earlier this week why this one was a little bit more special.
And it's just really just about the journey. You know, we're not looking for a destination. We're all amongst this journey here, and obviously we want to win the whole thing. But you know, as we've grown up through this process, it's been cool to see just individual growth, you know, and memories we've formed with each guy. Like Coach Bo said, you know, let's look back on this and remember the championship game with this guy, you know, for years to come.
The Panthers traveled to Whitman for the first round of the NCAA tournament and lost 91-84 last night, ending an exceptional season. Now, every year, the SCIAC Conference honors a few of its athletes and coaches with end-of-the-season awards. And on Thursday, a few members of the men's and women's basketball team were honored. On the men's side of things, head coach Mike Bukowski was awarded Coach of the Year, while freshman Cam Haslam earned SCIAC Athlete of the Year, both earning the award for the first time in Chapman basketball history. Along with those awards, junior guard Luke Hamlin earned first-team All-SCIAC, while breakout sophomore James Taylor earned second-team All-Conference. Now for the women, another freshman was recognized. Caitlin Sarazawa was selected as the newcomer of the year, while her coach Carol Drew won Coach of the Year. Other Panthers that made the All-SCIAC teams with Megan Charles making the first team and Jamie Hum Nishikata and Natalia Ibrahimian making the second team. Now, last week, FIFA, the governing body for World Soccer, held their 2016 Extraordinary Congress to elect a new president for the organization.
And we will restore the image of FIFA and the respect of FIFA. And everyone in the world will applaud us and will applaud all of you.
In Zurich on Friday, FIFA held their presidential election to see who would be succeeding Sepp Blatter, who has been serving as president since 1998. After decades of corruption claims against FIFA, Blatter is stepping down in December. In June 2015, Blatter was indicted by the U.S. government for bribery and money laundering. Friday, the ninth president, Gianni Infantino, was elected. Infantino has been a member of UEFA, the governing body of European soccer, since 2000. Infantino needed a second round of ballots to beat out the favorite Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa. It was the first time since 1974 the voting had to go to a second round.
I want to work with all of you together, with all of you, in order to restore and rebuild a new era in FIFA, where we can put again football in the center of the stage.
As for the United States Soccer Federation, their backing was behind Prince Ali bin Al Hussein of Jordan until they switched support to Infantino in the second round once Prince Ali was eliminated. Reporting for Chapman News, I'm Ben Weiner.
Infantino's first order of business will come in the next few months as the voting for the host nation of the 2026 World Cup begins. Now listen up, SoCal, and listen real good. The Anaheim Ducks, Southern California's professional hockey team, for those who are just a casual fan, have won 10 games in a row. Now, we know the Ducks started off real slow this season, almost got their coach fired. But the boys are back and looking as good as ever. After going 12-1-1 in February, the good guys have stretched their win streak to double digits with a big win over the rival LA Kings and a beatdown of the Arizona Coyotes. The Ducks face another test as they travel to Staples Center to face the team down the freeway in the Kings. But this is me giving you a PSA. Something magical is shaping up at the Honda Center, and I advise you to jump on now before it's too late, because in a month, Laura Stanley Cup could be making its home here in beautiful Southern California. Now that's all I have in the sports world. Gabriella, what do you got for us in entertainment?
Thank you, Justin. Coming up, Dory is back and ready for another adventure. Plus, can you be a member of the Wildcats' latest squad? High School Musical is going for a 4th round. We have it all coming up on Chapman News.
Stand up for what's right. Chapman University. Passion, perseverance, teamwork, integrity. Create value in the world. The School of Law at Chapman University. Lead.
Last weekend at the Oscars, Hollywood celebrated the best and whitest films of the year. Hope you turned down your exposure because the TVs did not nominate any person of color. Comedian Chris Rock hosted the night and wasted no time joking about the show's controversial whitewashing. He also took the opportunity to sell his daughter's Girl Scout cookies, making upwards of $65,000. As for the wins of the night, Mad Max swept the technical awards, and Leonardo DiCaprio finally brought home his first Oscar. Speaking of long-awaited things, it may be 13 years later, but it is still going swimmingly for Nemo, Dory, and the whole crew under the sea. This past Wednesday, Pixar released the widely anticipated Finding Dory trailer, which follows Dory on her mission to reunite with her family. Ellen DeGeneres is back as Dory, in addition of Diane Keaton and Eugene Levy as Dory's parents.
Have to listen to it.
My mom, my dad, I have a family.
We will never forget you, Dory.
What if I forget you? I miss them.
The movie is set to make its big splash into theaters on June 17th. Now, if High School Musical stole your heart the first time, you need to get your head back in the game. Open for High School Musical 4 is officially underway. Reporter Fiona Zering has some students' latest reactions.
Announced they're doing a High School Musical 4.
I have not.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a little unnecessary.
I haven't. What's High School Musical?
I have heard about High School Musical 4. I personally am thrilled.
Do you know anything about High School Musical?
I know that like one song, you know, it's like we're all in this together, and that's all I know.
That was so good. Well, they're making a 4th movie. They're doing open auditions. Do you think you'll go try out? That was pretty great.
Probably not.
Your girl might audition.
Oh, I'm already ready.
I think they should stick to what they know and just do the old cast.
I'm a die-hard fan. I don't know anyone. If you don't know every word to Breaking Free or stick to the status quo, I don't think we can be friends. Furthermore, I will be auditioning.
Well, there you have it. Lots of different reactions from the Chapman students on the announcement of High School Musical 4. Some looking to try out, some people just don't care at all. Regardless, we can't wait to hear the announcement of the new cast and see our first sneak peek of the movie. That's all I have for you. This has been Fiona Zering, Chapman News.
And that is all I have for you in entertainment today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Now, before we leave you to enjoy the rest of your Friday, we have 5 pairs of tickets to the Rhythm, Wine, and Brews Music Festival in Indio this weekend for 5 of our viewers.
Just share today's episode on Facebook, give our page a like to enter for a chance to win these tickets.
And log on to our website, chapmannews.tv, to see all of our episodes, Chapman Newsies bios, and top headlines.
And make sure you also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Chapman News, Twitter and Instagram @Chapman News, and YouTube at youtube.com/Chapman News.
Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next week, back here, same time, same place.